Have you ever noticed that the Spanish you hear on the street isn't the same as what you learned in class? Lupa is an amazing app that helps you understand Spanish as it's really spoken. Listen to award-winning radio stories from all over Latin America told by the very people who live them, with just enough help so you can follow along and train your ears. Visit lupa.app/salsa. That's lupa.app/salsa for an exclusive discount. In English, we use the verb to have in many different ways, from saying I have a new job to I have been there before, or even I have to go. But in Spanish, there's more than one verb for to have. And in this week's episode, I'm going to share with you 3 different ways to say to have in Spanish using a genre of Cuban music that you might not be familiar with. ¿Listos? Vamos a empezar. Let's get started.
Bienvenidos! Welcome to the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast, the show for Spanish learners that love music, travel, and culture. Close your grammar textbooks, shut down the language apps, and open your ears to how Spanish is spoken in the real world. Let us show you how to go from beginner to bilingual. Here is your host, certified language coach, Tamara Marie.
Hola y bienvenidos al episodio 118. Welcome to episode 118 of the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast. We've been talking about Cuba for the past few weeks on the podcast, so I thought for this episode it would be a good idea to explore music from the island. I'll be breaking down the lyrics to the song Me Dicen Cuba by Havana de Primera, so you'll have another song to add to your playlist. And speaking of playlists, you can access our Spotify playlist that has all the songs we featured on the Learn Spanish con Salsa podcast at learnspanishconsalsa.com/Spotify. Now, before we get started with breaking down the lyrics to this song, in our Facebook group, there's been some talk about traveling to Latin America this summer. Now, I know some of you are a little bit more cautious about travel and you're not quite ready yet, but a lot of you did say that you are ready to travel again for the first time in almost a year, well, actually more than a year now. So some of you have actually already made plans or are making plans to visit a Spanish-speaking country this summer. And some of you also said that your Spanish goals could use a little bit of a refresh for the spring. So starting next week, I'll be guiding you through a challenge to reset and refresh your Spanish goals. We've just wrapped up the end of the first quarter of 2021, if you can even believe that. So March is over, we are heading into the spring, and it really is a good time to reflect on the progress that you've made since the beginning of the year, and to also start off a new season with a recommitment to your Spanish goals. Every day next week, I'll guide you through a short exercise to really help you reflect on the progress you've made so far and decide what your next steps are going forward. So I hope you'll join me for the challenge. If you're interested, sign up at SpanishConSalsa.com/reset. That's SpanishConSalsa.com/reset. Now we're going to get started right at the beginning of next week. So make sure you're signed up. If you're thinking about it, pause this episode, sign up right now. You can click on the link on our show notes page, or if you're listening to this in your podcast app, just scroll down to the description and click on the link to sign up for our Refresh and Reset Spanish Challenge. So that's SpanishConSalsa.com/reset. The song we're reviewing this week, Me Dicen Cuba, which means They Call Me Cuba, is by Havana de Primera, a Cuban band founded in 2008. The band is a collective of 17 of the top musicians in the Cuban music scene. They're known for playing a style of Latin music called Timba. Timba can be considered a form of Cuban salsa, but it has a distinct style. You'll notice it when you hear it because it's usually very upbeat and llena de energía. It's full of energy. I'll include a link in the show notes page so you can check out the song Me Dicen Cuba and also a video that explains a little bit about Timba. And you know the drill by now. To go to our show notes page, just go to learnspanishconsalsa.com/118 for episode 118 of the podcast. So let's take a look at the lyrics to the song first, and then we'll